Welcome back to JKLIVE here at Citizen Television. It's ladies in the house. Nairobi Women Rep Esther Passaris, a second term in the National Assembly. She joins us for the very first time on the bench. And right next to her, Tabitha Karanja, Senator Tabitha Karanja. I said I can't believe I said Kikuyu. What was I thinking? Nakuru County. First timer. Good to see you, ladies. Thank you once again. Appreciate it. Let me start with you, Senator. It's your first time in the House. First time as an elected member of the House.
Yes.
What was it like? Was it what you expected when you walked in, coming from a business background?
I can say yes. Yes and no. But when I got in, I was surprised to see what they've been given, whatever is available, given to our members of parliament, given to the Senate. And if they wanted to deliver, they can deliver. That's what I can only say.
Yeah.
So the government have given everything.
Was it a culture shock for you? I mean, coming from your background, was it a culture shock?
Yes. It's like going to a new country. Like going to a new country.
Yeah.
And sitting there, looking and looking. And then you realize these are people that you know, some of them, you know. And then within a short while, you get used and you start, you join the business in the house. Yeah. And within no time, you are there.
Mahesh, it's your second term. Have you grown used to it? How is it like?
So I'm representing Nairobi County in the National Assembly. So I'm a member of Parliament, and I'm also in the Pan-African Parliament. I'm a nominee for the Pan-African Parliament, so that's 2 parliaments. We get to look at Africa as a whole, and then also Kenya. It's, what can I say? It's getting tougher because the poverty levels of this country are getting higher. We've got no control whatsoever on population. We're not even thinking population. And then we've got children becoming mothers, all right? And we've got defilement at another level. Post-pandemic, I think we are in a place that makes every leader feel challenged because you don't know how to really make that impact and see yourself making that impact today, tomorrow, this year, over the next 5 years. So it's a bit challenging, and I believe that's what also our party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, saw when he realized that the poverty, the pain, the suffering, the 200,000 children not reporting to school, families not being able to feed their children, not being able to pay their rent. I mean, every single day I get requests, and as a member of parliament, I don't have money for rent, money for debt, money for hospital. So we are in a crisis as a country, and I think it needs immediate attention. And I believe that's what the People's Dialogue is all about.
Do you feel helpless sometimes as the people's representative, and you know, they come to you every day for these requests? I need school fees, I need to pay my rent, I need to eat, you know, to buy basics. It's
sad, it's really sad, but I also feel that we need to start having those discussions. You know, I'll give you an example. There's a family that I've been helping in Dandora. They had a child that was put into a wheelchair, and by accident on Jogo Road. And I took this family from because he was completely paralyzed. I took them out of a mabati shack where they lived, and I moved them to a 2-bedroom apartment, which I furnished for them. And there are 8 children. The lady was the first wife of many wives, and she had 8 children. She passed on. And I think it's, you know, it's the stresses of life and everything that comes with it. So here is this family, I've moved them, but when you go to visit them, each and every one of those daughters has had 2 or 3 children. Now, none of them are working. So when you go, even the landlord was complaining. He was saying that, look, this is, we can't accept this. We can't have 30 or so children in one space. So I feel that as citizens, our government is supposed to provide an enabling environment for you to thrive. It's supposed to be able to cushion, because not everybody can get a job, cushion those who are not able, but also have a plan on how you're going to get them into gainful employment. Universal health, some will pay, some will be given free. Like South Africa, when we went to South Africa, I got to speak to the taxi driver, and he said to me, I'm Kenyan, I moved here a few years ago, I work as an Uber driver, my children go to my wife went to the public hospital, my children go to public schools, and as far as I'm concerned, everything here is perfect, it's working. Free education, free medical, he doesn't pay a thing. But here, when you go to a hospital, even though we're talking universal healthcare, outpatient you have to pay, and it's very expensive. Then they tell you the equipments are not working, go and get an X-ray or a scan from a private hospital. So we still haven't got enough cushion for our people. Our citizens are suffering. So I want the citizens now to look at this and say, look, if I'm going to have 2 children, I need to know how I'm going to be able to provide for them. And then if the government can give you bursaries, it can give you books, it can give you help, it's a bonus. But right now, almost 80% of the families in school-going children can't afford.
Sad situation. Senator, let me ask you this, and I asked you before, but you said it was a long story, so make it short. What made you switch from, very successful business, which you still run, to politics? What made you, how'd you come up with that decision?
Okay. I remember even the last time I was in this bench, I told you that it was people requesting. It was people's request, and they requested that I become their leader. So at first I had refused, but then later I realized that if people have seen something in you and they need you to lead them, I agreed to take it up. Yeah. So I went there because of the people, but I thank the Nakuru people for even thinking of me to become their senator and giving me that opportunity to lead them as their senator.
Yeah. Was it a tough campaign? Was it a tough campaign?
Mine was not. I can say I was lucky, God's grace. I've seen God's grace. It was not really a tough campaign. And then my party leader, who is His Excellency, Our Excellency the President, Dr. William Ruto, also because Nakuru County, as I told you from the beginning, it was a UDA zone. So he also helped me during the campaign and all that. And then the people, having known me from my marriage to the Kurusoi South or Kurusoi North, at least for me, I saw God's grace. I know, like when we talk with Esther here, she told me it took her 10 years to get elected. With me, it took me only the first term to get, and I got elected. But I know the expectations outside there is huge. Yeah. It's huge because they elected me with a purpose, with a mission for me to deliver and to ensure that I bring different leadership from what has been there before.
Do you get along with your governor, Susan Kego?
Yeah, we do, but I've been told it's never a straight path because you become the oversight, so you be strict to ensure that the money you bring into the county is utilized to do projects that will benefit my people, my local people. And then the mandate have been given. So unless the government does, the Nakuru County government does what the people expect from them. If they don't, of course, the senator must always...
You heard what Esther said a moment ago about people coming to her every single day with requests. Do you get those as well? I need school.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But me, I look at it very differently. You know me, I've come from corporate. I remember even Esther did the same. But I know her, after she got to the politics, she stopped doing the business. And we call ourselves self-made. So to make a country, it is everybody to ensure that we make the country. And it's very easy. It's very easy. Like now, if you look at the manifesto of the current government now, we start with agriculture. When you start with agriculture, you don't need to invest in anything. It's only you use their shambas, the shambas that are already there. The cows are the same ones that our people have. So you just need to create that enabling environment, what Esther is saying, to ensure that our farmers can grow, support them so that they can grow their crops and then support them in the value addition. Because after we support the agriculture, like Nakuru, it can grow anything there. We have water. So it's a high time where we can't grow, we don't have proper rain and all that. We start doing the irrigation. But with these politics, that every time we get an election, we go back to the politics another 5 years. So our people will continue suffering. So for me, is how we can let the government that has of the day to do its work and ensure, because we've given that mandate to them, to ensure that our people, the poverty, whatever line, or we eradicate poverty. Remember, even with the COVID alone, if you look at the research that was done, 2 million people were taken into 2 million people already were added to the people that are living below the poverty line. 2 million, over 2 million people. Yeah. Now, with the recovery of that COVID, the economic recovery of that COVID, again, every year, every month, every whatever, you've seen how many businesses are closing. Yeah. So we as leaders now to come together and start and ensure that our people get out of the poverty that they are getting into. Because Esther, how many people can she help? Me, as Tabitha Karanja, how many people can we help? Is now to ensure that how do we, as a country, eradicate this poverty. Yeah. And it's very easy. Support our agriculture, give the value addition industries, build industries. I saw in our government, the current government has given an addition of 100 million shillings to ensure that we build a factory or an industry to add value to the agriculture that is in our farmers that are growing. So it is us, to me, it's us who are refusing to work for our people. If the minute we hold hands, all of us as leaders, and we ensure that we have no other country, this is the only country that we have, we ensure that we eradicate poverty. The school fees we are talking about, like now me, as a senator, I've already taken 11 people, in every sub-county, because we have 11 sub-counties. I've already given one. But 11 people, we educate 11 people. How many are those? It's so minimal. Esther, we educate 2, another one. It's minimal. So is the government supposed to do what Esther is saying South Africa is doing? During our time, we went to school, got books, got everything. It's a uniform. So it's a high time now, we don't let our children suffer. We don't let our grandchildren suffer. We work for our people. Tell
me something. You're in the National Assembly. You're in the Senate. Do you ever meet? Do you two ever meet in there?
Very rarely. 2 different houses, sometimes sitting at different times.
Yes.
But when we didn't even go for training together, no.
No.
Hardly.
Really?
Hardly.
Yes.
But I do meet with the 2 senators that are in the Pan-African Parliament. Yeah.
Were you in the House today?
Yes.
Was it a calm day? Was it a normal day, as opposed to what happened?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, today we were discussing public debt and privatization. There was a report that was put out. There was a new committee that was hived off from Public Investment Committee in the last Parliament. And it was good to look at the overall debt burden of the country and to look at the areas that really need us to check, and government needs to answer, why did we spend this much money or incur this much debt or give this much guarantees? It was a good report. Kenya is at 8.9 trillion in debt. And I think it's going to go higher before it goes lower. I don't see it going low almost immediately, because even though we want to raise taxes, you know, we have to provide services. You know, if you look at Europe, like the Scandinavian countries, some of them are taxed up to 50, 60%. Yeah. But people don't mind paying 50, 60% taxes because they get free education, free medical, good infrastructure, good, even the salary that they earn, the food is affordable. They can afford to live well, travel. That's why they come here on holiday. So we have a situation in Kenya where people are not willing to pay taxes because one, they can hardly afford to sustain even their own businesses. So for instance, if you are running a business and you know you have to pay tax of X amount, but you also have to pay your landlord, you also have to pay your employees, you're not on break even, you're not on profit, how are you going to do that? So I like the fact that the government has recently said that you can go and negotiate with KRA, all right? And that in itself is good, because if you can go and negotiate with KRA, you eliminate corruption. I love that, because what happens is when you owe KRA money, then they can frustrate you as long as you're not able to go on the table to talk to them and say, okay, fine. And mostly it's the individuals that will benefit. That's why you find some of them with huge fat accounts and you're wondering, where did they get all this money? So the best thing is government can collect more if it becomes friendlier and understands the climate that the investors are dealing with. So I think that's a good thing. Let them commit to pay X amount every month and then see how much you're going to collect from that. NSSF is going to go up. The thing is, if you came to me and told me, I want to double your NSSF, and I saw my father get a house after retirement, I saw him get a healthy check, I wouldn't mind. But you see, you are not seeing any benefit of NSSF with the premiums that have been paid by the generation before us. So there's been a lot of scandals again, buying dead assets, paying people money. So the biggest problem we have in this country is that we don't love our country. We're not patriotic enough. We are willing to steal. And when they did the study, a lot of the youth said, yes, if we had an opportunity to be corrupt, we would be corrupt. So people are seeing corruption as the way to make it in life. But that's not the way to sustain the country and to sustain the future generations. So we have to really think hard about corruption. And I saw the Auditor General saying that, fine, we have to come to, I think it was like, fine, if you've got to steal, steal, because I don't think we can stop you from stealing, but please invest it in Kenya. And, you know, I was like, that's such a bad place to be, where you're saying, you know what, we can't deal with the theft anymore. The only thing I can appeal to you now is bring that money, steal that money and invest it in Kenya. Because if you invest it in Kenya, you will create jobs for people. If you take it abroad, it doesn't help. If you go buy houses.
She was very serious, by the way.
Yes, and I feel her. And I feel that it's sad that we're there. Kenyans, I think, have to make a decisive role about corruption. And we've got to stop it. We've got to start doing citizens' arrests. And I think we're seeing it. The police getting arrested because they're taking bribes. We're having the exposés with the media houses. We have to own this problem and jointly solve this problem. Because if you look at the public debt, 8.9 trillion, probably 3 or 4 trillion is corruption. People's pockets, families have become rich. Because I can't understand how you get into public office and then you own so much, you know, helicopters, businesses, empires.
Homes.
I mean, how do you own that? With your salary? No way. With cutting deals. And if you're cutting deals, then you're delivering air, you're overpricing, you're making money. So we know that corruption has enriched a number of people. Now, those people, which country do they have? Maybe you have a home in Switzerland or South Africa, but Kenya is Kenya. You know, I was in India for 2 weeks, and I was missing my ugali, my sukuma, my nyama, you know, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, seriously, this is our country. Let us really, the leaders, you know, Kenya Kwanza, the government right now, I mean, deal with corruption. And I mean, I get concerned when I see, you know, today I saw that the president's office is going to be given an additional 5 billion. I want that 5 billion to go into food. I asked for food for my county because my people are hungry. We've got urban poor, and I haven't gotten food. And I've seen food going around. And then, of course, when I hear the Deputy President talking about how we are a company and how only the people that are supported us first are going to get benefit, I'm saying that my Nairobi residents, whether they supported you, whether they voted for you, whether they voted for Raila, whether they didn't vote, they are Kenyans, and if you're distributing food, they have a right to get food. So I'm going to give them a call this week and say, you know what, I need the food because you promised me that you'll give me food as soon as you make the next order. But we can't feed everybody. We have to find a way, as Tabitha says, let's get our agriculture right. If Tanzania is telling us they've got stock for over a year, what are we doing wrong? Ugandans will never starve. They've got enough matoke to feed themselves for the next 10 years. They've got it, the infrastructure is there. So we have drought, we have corruption, we have banditry, we have debt. How are we going to manage all this? We need to renegotiate our debt. We need to actually investigate because half of that debt is probably also corruption.
Absolutely. Tabitha, you heard us a moment ago, KRA. Very good friends of yours. Are they more friendly to you now? Because I think I saw somewhere last week where you're saying they're harassing you again.
Not really. I didn't say KRA harassing. KRA, we came up with a payment plan. What we've been asking for all that time. Or the war that we had was just to be given a payment plan because everybody understood why we had some arrears because of the COVID, the closure of the bars and all that. So when we got that payment plan, we are good. We are good to go.
Okay.
And they are not harassing with the new government. I may say that.
Of which you are part of?
Yes. They are not harassing any business.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can say. They're not harassing any. Esther has already confirmed that His Excellency called and said the KRA don't harass any business, don't close any business. It doesn't make any sense. Call them and come up with a plan on how they are going to clear the arrears. And Kiroche Breweries was part of that.
And you're back up and running, right?
Yeah, we are back and running. We started in this January. Of course, it's hard. We've been closed for 3 years. So we are reviving a company that has been good for, if it's not for Kiroche Breweries, if it's any other company, it's not very hard to survive a closure of 3 years. Yes, but we are lucky. The machines were there. It's the latest technology. So just switching on, putting the raw material. Now we are struggling with the market. The beer is ready. We are just struggling now to open up the market. Yeah.
Jeff, when you talk about you're the government, their party, right, is the ruling party. We are the opposition, all right? But as far as I'm concerned, we're all government, all right? We're all government in the sense that we all are representatives of the people. And when we stand in Parliament or when she stands in the Senate, we are representing the people of Kenya. So there has to come a time when we have to start listening to each other. When Baba goes round and he starts understanding the pain points, it's the same thing that William Ruto did, His Excellency did, when he was going round, when the second term, right, going round and saying, oh, you're the hustlers, you're in this trouble, you're in that trouble. So there was a lot of promises made. And, for instance, today somebody sent me the Hustler, something on WhatsApp. Fill it up, it's a Hustler thing. And it's a whole scam. So people are being scammed on this Hustler Fund thing. So the government has to be attentive to the fact that they've created this Hustler Fund, right? And then people are not able to get the money and they're being scammed at the same time with people using the same Hustler Fund narrative. So there's something going on, and I forwarded it to the DCI. So for me, if I have a governor who told me that he applied for the Hustler Fund and he qualified for 1,500 shillings. So people, you're talking about Mama Mboga and you're saying it's okay, Mama Mboga will be happy to receive that 500 shillings. But I've heard people saying that they're not progressing higher. So we need to be able to actually see what is the impact. Because when I look at the people, they're looking at me and they're saying, you know what, haki tunaomba baba aliingia Because if Baba was there, we were promised 6,000 a month. No business of applying, no paying interest, no paying entry fee, no giving your Safaricom PIN. It was 6,000. So if Baba had a mechanism to give 6,000, right? And then if he had a mechanism to create training for you so that we can give you jobs. If he had a mechanism to make sure that help was free, okay, interest free, all right? All these things that he promised, the people are now feeling frustrated, all right? And that's why you can see that when we call up people's dialogue, it is filled up, all right? And you know, people say, oh, you pay them to come or you mobilize. But let me tell you, how much money can you have to mobilize? From where? You know, there is no resources to mobilize people. People are coming because people are desperate, and people are coming because they are unemployed. So what is the plan to create employment opportunities for these people? And for right now, a hungry nation is an angry nation.
Senator, what do you say?
Okay. You know very well that whether it was Raila, whether it's Dr. William Ruto becoming a president, it's no, you can't fix a country in a day. You need some time. You need some time.
Absolutely.
And you know, what we inherited. We inherited empty coffers. I hear there were empty coffers. Then even in there was nothing. So what does that mean? We need to create. If you started you adopt a right. You know how long it takes. To start something and get something. So for us, we just need to give this government time so that they can deliver. And let me tell you, because I know you're an employer, I'm an employer. If you give somebody an opportunity to give excuses, because after 2 years, William will say, we disturbed him. His Excellency will say, how we did. You called people, you rallied people, instead of letting people work. Instead of letting him work, why don't you give him time? So at 5 years come, we ask him, you told us.
So maybe the
1 year, and if you look at his manifesto, he had even said the quick, you know those quick, whatever, 6 months, 1 year, whatever. So 6 months now, we are just talking. We are just talking. So for me, Esther, let's be very serious on whatever we advise everyone. You know me, I'm a friend more than even you to the side you are in. So let's advise and say, let's give the person that goes, we can only have one president. We can only have one president. Jeff, one.
Yep.
Race, even a second. You've seen the one I enjoy most is 100 meter.
100 meters.
100 meter.
Yeah.
Wanawachana hivi.
Yeah.
Na anaenda nyumbani. Huyu mwingine anachukua kikombe. So it's the high time now we accept and say, one man won, he said A, B, C, D, then now what are they called? Those check and balance. We check. 6 months you said you do this, we can now shout. 1 year you said you do this, for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, then 2027 is here, we tell him you didn't deliver. But now you have excuses to give us. So
no, but you know what, Tabitha, if what you're saying is correct, then the fact is, if you're saying that if we continue doing all this, he'll have an excuse that I couldn't deliver because you continuously demonstrated. Well, he continuously campaigned during the second term with the Uhuru government. So maybe that's why he's inherited a mess, if he calls it a mess. So it was because he continued to campaign throughout the 5-year term. And he was the deputy president.
But he never disrupted. His campaign was, he's in Harambee, he's in a church. He goes back to his current residence. You know, yeah. He never disrupted. Yeah, I think even this one, I just hope you
let me tell you,
you walk and don't disrupt.
We've done about
but you see, for me, I love Baba, so meaning I wouldn't want you people to like, you know, on the road and on that, all that. So mine is very simple, Jeff. To build this country, to get it back to where it's supposed to be, very simple. Like now in Naivasha, there is a company that is already closed there. It used to employ, it's called Panafood. It used to employ 7,000 people then. I think
kind of company, flour company or? No,
it's a pan vegetable. You bring in vegetables from Kinangop, wherever, they dry them. Nowadays we buy them in London. You know, those dry. Then you put them back the water, they become, so it's already closed, that company. By then, we are talking of how many years it's been closed. It used to employ 7,000 people. It was a 24-hour. If it is on today, I'm very sure it could be employing over 20,000 people. And then, what does that do? It add value to the vegetables and whatever's of our farmers. Then create the normal roads, even if it's Maram, if we don't have more money, so that the agriculture from Maera can come to the Panaford, the agriculture from Kinango can come to that Panaford. So we'll fix that. We bring 20,000 employees there. Then we say, buy Kenya, build Kenya. You can see now, we are just wearing now Kenya, buy Kenya.
All this is made.
If this was a Gucci design,
yes,
we couldn't afford to buy it.
Correct.
But today now is a Kenyan, and we are supporting the Kenyan designers. So what am I trying to say? Let's not rocket science and all that. There is nothing much to say. It's only on how we let the person who got that election, so that he can deliver to this country.
Yeah.
Whatever he promised. Me, I have a job. Esther has a job. I was elected for Nakuru County. I have a job. To ensure I push for additional revenue to take to the Nakuru County. And then oversight. Esther has a job here in Nakuru, in Nairobi. Then His Excellency, who is the president now, Dr. William Ruto, has his job. He's put the ministries together. Yeah. We know the manifesto. And first of all, the first two, they'll fix this country within a very short time. The agriculture and the supporting the SMEs economy, which we know it is the backbone of any economy in the world. Yeah. With those two, and then ensuring the housing, people own the houses, the saving you're talking about. I was shocked to hear, even me, I'm learning. You know me, I just came the other day. I've been concentrating on my business. We're at my comfort zone. I'm learning that Tanzania, they save more than us. Yeah. Uganda, they are. So us, we are living, we don't live within our means. And that's why you see even these, the whatever bills.
You can only say.
You've seen that Kinangop contractor.
Yes.
That lead is a sad story.
Very sad.
Because they have a budget of 20 billion. Instead of living within that 20 billion, they want to live for 40 billion. So we as the senators now, I think that's what we should oversight and ensure. Yeah.
Speaking of which, were you in the Senate today?
Yes. You
saw how chaotic it was in the afternoon?
Yes.
4 senators suspended, and then later on the suspension was rescinded. I mean, will you get any work done if this is what's going to be happening?
Yeah, I think the minority side need to accept that the leader they want to remove from their leadership. That is Senator Dulu. She got a court order from the political party dispute tribunal. So the speaker hands are tied. So I don't know whether we are like going round in circles, and we know the truth of the matter is with a court order, the speaker can do nothing. So I am hoping within no time they don't understand, and we do the house business in a capable agreement. We agree and we move because the people outside there are watching. Yeah. They're watching us. Yeah. You know, it's not about Dulo. Dulo is supposed to deliver in whatever. Me, I'm Nakuru, the others, all of us. So they look at us and they will judge us according to what we did at our time. And for me, being in that house and seeing whatever is happening, I'm just praying that we all now agree. I know people are bitter. I know people are not happy. I know everybody had the high expectations that we are going to win this election. But after this, things have whatever. Well, if some of us are leaving, and you know, we don't need to say much. We open, you'll see how many scars we have inside us. But we've let it go and we are moving, isn't it? Yeah. We are restarting companies that were closed for three years, especially 1 year, that had no reason to be closed. But we've said, let's move forward. Even for now, everybody, can we move forward so that we don't bring maneno mingi in the house, we waste time for our people, and then... because I know it's not a good picture when you see what is happening in the Senate.
Does the National Assembly get hectic as well? Do you guys?
Oh, not yet. We're waiting for the supplementary budget to come through. And then we want to make sure that it's put in with equity everywhere, not just certain regions. We want to make sure that every part of this country is able to feel the budget. And every aspect of the budget is well defended, right? I don't think in the National Assembly we're supposed to legislate. The biggest challenge right now that the National Assembly is having, the members of Parliament, are the CDF. Because, of course, it's been the practice that the members of Parliament have got CDF. With CDF, they are able to then give bursaries to their constituents. And now this week, you'll see quite a bit of bursaries coming out. But it took a long time to get that off the ground, and people are suffering. The kids are not able to go to school. I find this whole bursary thing, like, for instance, I get 1.2 million per constituency. In a ward, I can only give 20 people bursary. 20 people in an entire ward. Sometimes I feel that maybe what we should do is just increase the number of schools, give the number of books, and just make education free. Because it was supposed to be free primary, free secondary. Yeah, so why, when we give bursaries, everybody seems to be in need right now. So why are we discriminating? Because it's so sad when somebody comes to me and I say, sorry, my bursaries are over. That person also voted for me, or that person also is a citizen of this country. So I just feel if there was a way we could take that fund for bursaries, add to the classrooms, and make sure that we give facilities, food, books, even uniforms, and let the children study for free. Give every child an opportunity, because there's some children that will not get bursaries. And when we give the bursary, if you're giving 5,000 shillings and the school fees is 20,000, and the family can't raise the money. I've got graduates who are coming to me today and telling me, please, I want to get a job. I owe the university 150,000 shillings. He has no idea where to get 150,000 shillings to pay for that university, to give him his degree. So we're in a situation where people are stuck. So I think the government has to understand, the government has to be sensitive to its people. And that's why when we went round as Azimio la Umoja, we were learning about what the people want. And I'm sure Kenya Kwanza did the same. But right now, you need to talk to the people and understand their needs. And every citizen will have a different need, but you will find that majority of them are in clusters with that need. So there are students out there who were private students who owe universities money, who got a bit of help, but they owe universities money, their degrees are being held. Can we find out what is the value of that? And say government is going to pay for it so that they can get their degrees, so that they can get jobs, not just here in Kenya, maybe even outside of Kenya. Because right now they're stuck. Yeah. And then, we bail out Kenya Airways all the time. We bail out Mumias. We bail out all these companies where people have stolen money, right? We bailed out Uchumi until it went completely crushing down. Why can't we bail out the Kenyan citizens? Why can't we sit down and really understand where are the Kenyan citizens at right now? I like the fact that they got out of the Credit Reference Bureau. That was fantastic. At least now they are able to get some loans and start their lives again. So we need to basically understand the pain points. And for me, unstuck people. Right, and right now, for me, the government has released 1 billion shillings for GAF, but we're not able to progress further because the board, the committee, it's just a mess. Nobody seems to be in a hurry to do something quickly. Yeah. And I think that's the problem. We need to have this urgency. So I'm going to go and kick some ass at GAF tomorrow, because I'm a bit concerned that I need the bursaries. You've got 2 quarters. Why are you giving me only 1 quarter? Why can't you release all the bursaries so that I can have one event and give the bursary checks? Because I want to satisfy more people. Yeah. But I really hope that we can get to a point where universal healthcare, the last government coined it right, universal healthcare, housing, food security, manufacturing. We need an agriculture. We need to get these things right. And we've talked and talked and talked. Yeah. We talked about irrigation, cost of energy. We have wind power. We have solar. We have all this. And the energy is higher and higher every day. Who is benefiting from this higher and higher? I think we need to sort out the problem between the providers of energy and the distributor of energy, Kenya Power and Lighting.
Hold that thought. Yeah. What are you going to do tomorrow again?
Tomorrow I'm going to go and kick ass at the GAF office and get them to release the money, not just for me, but also for all the women reps, so that they can go out, because they're releasing it in piecemeal. And if Treasury has released it, why are you sitting on it? Let it get out and start serving wananchi.
Listen to the women, folks. These are our leaders. should have done this a long time ago. Elect women in leadership positions.
It's true.
You people make, you know, you call it like you see it. That's what we need to see. What do you think? Beauty and brains on the bench tonight. I want to ask you guys when we come back about balancing family life and politics as well. Very important stuff. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLIVE. JKLIVE takes a break. We'll be back in a moment.